Hello, folks. Welcome to Love to Fly 2024. We're talking about multiplayer here as we watch another player go by. And I'd like to specifically touch on the topic of multiplayer in Flight Sim 2024. For those of you who haven't used it or haven't used it extensively, you're going to find there's some problems with it. It's not perfect, but it is a fun feature and I do enjoy using it. It's just got a lot of glitches, and if you're willing to put up with those glitches, it's still fun. One of the things is if you're up close to another airplane, uh, you're going to see things that are abnormal. If you're just flying at a distance and seeing other players off in the distance, it should be great. Um, but when you're flying close up, or when you're flying with a good buddy or whatever, and you land at a place like I'm currently standing outside my plane, um, there are odd artifacts that will happen, odd things, and I thought I'd just give you a quick rundown on some of those. One of them is that you will often see your friend, or we'll just use the term friend in this case, in a plane that they're not really in. First and foremost, if you don't own the plane that they're flying, you will see them in a plane you do own and do have, and Flight Sim will choose that plane for you. So if they have, like we just saw, a Waco biplane, now thankfully I own the same Waco biplane, that's not a problem. But if I didn't own that Coronado Waco biplane, I would see them in a Cessna 182 or something, or a Cessna 172 or whatever. Um, I might even see them in a Piper Cub. It's kind of goofy the way it works. It's just set up that way. So you have to be understanding of that. If you're flying a plane, if they're flying a plane that you have, you should see the right plane. However, on that same note, if they switch planes during the flight, oftentimes you'll still see them in the last plane they were flying and not their current plane. And that can be a little odd. In fact, I've even seen people in 737s when they're flying a Cessna 172. It takes the realism completely away. This can be corrected for if they stop, and as far as I know, the only easy correction is for them to get out of the simulator and back into it, or for both of you to come back into it fresh in the planes that you intend to fly. But that being said, it's not always practical to do that. Most of the time, they're in a fairly similar plane to what they should be in, but not always. It frequently does keep them in the last plane they were flying. It might even show, if you have the titles on, it might even show that they're in a, Cessna 172 in the title, and then you look and they're in a Mooney. It's kind of goofy. That's just hasn't been done right. Also, especially with aftermarket planes, I don't think I've seen it with any of the default planes. You will sometimes see the avatar of them floating partway outside of their airplane, or with their head through the roof of the plane, or in the case of one of the steermans, I will see the pilot sitting behind the rear seat with his head coming out of part of the fuselage. It's just not perfect yet. It's their best attempt so far. Hopefully it gets better. And we know that in the future they're talking about having multiplayer where you can actually sit in the same cockpit with the other player. That will be a game changer if it comes out and works correctly. If it doesn't, it doesn't. But if it does, it will be a real game changer, to say the least. Some of the other glitches that we see with this are, well, due to the fact that they're flying the wrong type of plane. If they're in a tail dragger and you're not seeing them in that tail dragger, you might very well see the tail of the plane that they appear to be in sticking into the ground, or vice versa, a tail dragger with the tail up in the air all the time that never comes down because it thinks they're in a tricycle gear plane. Little things like that, big things like that, are pretty common in Flight Simulator 2024. This has not been addressed or fixed yet. As far as I know, they don't have any. I haven't seen anything on the books from the developers about trying to clear this up or take care of it. So we're just going to have to live with it until they do get it taken care of. In the meantime, though, multiplayer flights are really fun. You want to make sure you've got your settings correct, and I'm not going to go through them all here, but you want to make sure that you've got live traffic and multiplayer set up. Um, Aircraft in vicinity of yours, there's a little checkbox for that. And if you want to turn on the labels, you can turn on the labels and see the label for your friend. Or if you're doing like I am in this current flight here, which is just an old recorded flight in New Zealand, I'm flying a 182 RG, and my buddy's flying a Waco. Um, I don't have labels turned on at all because it takes away from my realism. I'd rather just see their airplane when I see it. However, if you want to see them from any distance away, put labels on and you'll see their little label floating long before you're going to see their actual airplane. Their actual airplane, even on very good length of draw setup on a high-end video card, it's still going to have to be within a half mile of you or so before you even see their airplane. That's just the way it is. Prior to that, it would be a pin dot anyways, but and when it first draws in, you will probably see, say they're on final approach to land. If they have, well, it doesn't matter if the plane has retracts or not, their gear a lot of times will draw in last. So it'll look as though their gear's up, even if they don't have retracts sometimes. But as it gets closer, boom, you'll see the landing gear pop in. That's just the way things draw. We've got to deal with those limitations. We don't really have much of a choice right now. It's not the end of the world, though. When you do fly multiplayer, you're going to want to make sure that you have collision turned off. You want to make sure that hitting the other plane will not cause a damage or crash, because not because you can't stay away from another plane in the air. Of course you can. We all do it when we fly our real planes, but a lot of times you'll be landing and goofing off a bit on the strips, and like I'm about to. This is a New Zealand strip here, right on the coastline. It's a very small, short strip, and I'm not going to make somebody wait until I've taxied off of it to have them land. So we just kind of land one after the other, and frequently we just cross right through each other's airplane. And we sometimes do that while we're taxiing as well. If you want to be ultra realistic, you can leave it on, but certainly if you're flying with people you don't know, turn it off, because you most likely will cross a wingtip or something, and all of a sudden you'll have a crash. Um, I know it's part of the realism, right? But it's not absolutely necessary unless you're keeping to 100% accurate realism. Um, Certainly in large group flights, you have to turn it off because there's a good chance somebody's wingtip and yours are going to cross through each other. But this short little strip that I'm landing at here is a good example. There's really not a lot of place for you to get out of the way. And I'm sure in real life on this strip, there's very few times that multiple planes are landing at the same time. So it's probably not a big deal normally. But I think in a minute or two, and again, this is a recorded clip that I've done, so I don't remember, but I think that we'll have the Waco come landing in here as well, and we'll probably cross through each other a little bit. And yes, this strip is a little short and tight for a Waco. It can be done, but it's definitely not meant for a Waco to come in. Oh, here he comes, zigzagging like crazy. He's just getting used to his rudder pedals on that, so it's understandable. But yeah, like right now, if I were to take off, I would go through him somewhat, and that's okay. That's to be expected. It's not, ultimate realism when it comes to this. And of course, he'd be hitting my wings right now, wouldn't he? Anyways, I think multiplayer needs a lot of work, more probably than most other areas in Microsoft Flight Simulator 2024. It is doable. It is very fun. You've probably seen my formation flight video. If you haven't, go to my channel, pull up the formation flight video, and you'll see that I'm flying in formation with with the same person, and it's very nice and fun and controllable. But in that, we're both flying planes that we both own, and we didn't start out in a different plane and switch over because that will cause problems and it will look goofy. And I've got planes where the pilot just, for some reason, sits 10 feet outside of the plane. You can see this pilot sitting up in the sky. It's not perfect, but we work with it. We're getting there. At least we've got something, right? And I know people could say just use 2020. I prefer 2024 for, well, I just don't want to have both. And I've gotten used to 2024. I love the landing gear on that 182 RG. But I just deal with these odd little glitches that we have to deal with. It's still very, very fun to play multiplayer, and I think it's very worth it. But you get what you get, and right now it's not perfection by any means. It's about as good as we can do at the moment. Maximize your fun, try and make it as realistic as you want to, but enjoy the fact that you're flying with someone else. And now, audio is another question. I do not use any audio to talk to them unless I'm using Say Intentions, third-party add-on. And I really enjoy Say Intentions. And I can tune to 123.45, have them tune to 123.45 as well. And we can both fly and use our microphone button to talk as though we're talking through the radio of the airplane. And that works good, but it has a delay, so you're not going to get a lot out quickly. And you're also not going to have an immediate response from them because it takes a few seconds for them to hear your radio call to them. And then it takes a few seconds for them to respond. And so there is some lag in there. Say Intentions does a great job, and their product was not meant specifically for this, so I don't fault them at all for it. There's that Waco ahead of me. But they actually have added some bonus to Flight Simulator that was not their main product. Their main product, of course, is to have ATC communication at airports, but and or he's going to land a little low, isn't he? Let's watch this. Oh, yes. That was a low one. You can't come in skimming those rocks. You will hit them. Good example of me kind of flying through them here. Yep. There we go. But Say Intentions is going above and beyond. Highly recommended. I'm not sponsored by them. I don't get paid by them. But their product is a really good product for this. And for general aviation, I like it better than the Beyond ATC. But I understand if anybody else likes Beyond ATC, feel free to check both out and see which one you like best. But for this sort of situation, I think Say Intentions works good. Now, the thing I do most commonly is I don't use any audio communication between them. I call them on the phone, and I have the phone piped into either my headset or my earbuds, and we talk through that. And that way we can have true duplex communication. We don't have to wait for one to talk and then the other to talk. We just talk like you would to a buddy on the phone, right? But we have that going on while we're flying. And that's probably the best way to do it right now, unless you want to be 100% authentic and get immersed in it. And if you do, that's great. Say Intentions is perfect for that, as well as many other things. I think you'd find it a worthwhile product, to say the least. Anyways, quick little video. Thank you very much for listening. Have an awesome day. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and watch some of my other videos, including my formation flight, where you can see how it looks flying in formation with another airplane. Thanks. Have a great day.